His vitriol, for some I imagine is off-putting, but for me, it possesses a crystal clear gravitational pull, because after a couple sentences, you realize you are reading a caustic, courageous genius.
Better than food, man.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Better Than Food Book Reviews. I'm your host, Clifford Lee Sargent. Great to see you as always. Hope you're doing well. How's it going? Get that coffee. Delicious. Today is a return to an old favorite, far too overdue. Today is Woodcutters by the Austrian author Thomas Bernhard, published in 1984. I actually reviewed The Loser before, but that is the only one I've read. And lucky enough for me, this was, I think, the second in a trio of books that he wrote, if I'm not mistaken. The first was The Loser, so the second was Woodcutters, so I kind of lucked out there. So I forget the third one, but I shall link it below. Yeah, so this was originally published in Austria in 1984, and it was actually banned, which frankly, after you read it, is hysterical, because it's like the best possible reaction he could have hoped for, I think. Yeah, basically what happened was a guy named Gerard Lampersberg, who was the basis for the character Auersberger in the novel, who's a complete lush and just kind of pathetic alcoholic, but used to be like this genius musician. In real life, he actually got the book banned for a while because he accused Bernhard of defamation, but then he dropped it a while after, so. Hey, if you're enjoying these reviews, a great way to support the show would be to check out our bookshop on Instagram, link below. Anybody who spends $20 or more on books will receive a free signed bookmark, and those are also for sale individually for $4 each. If you would like to get one of these, you can hit me up via the email below, or hit me up on Instagram. Thanks. So yeah, Thomas Bernhard, he's quite a, how would I describe this guy? He's an absolute genius. He's, I hesitate to use the word pessimist because he seems too brilliant to be just labeled or disregarded as such. I think that label is thrown around way too loosely, especially for somebody who is as wise as Bernhard is. So let's just say he tells the truth and doesn't mince his words. Let's just say he's pretty blunt, but eloquent. So Bernhard is really fond of these excoriations, these really intense, biting criticisms. He does this in his novels, at least the two that I've read. The first one I read and reviewed was The Loser, wherein the narrator is a musician and a peer of Glenn Gould, the pianist, who realizes he'll never be anywhere as close to as good as Gould. It's an excellent book, and you can find it in the April box of today's fantastic video sponsor, Boxwalla. Boxwalla is a bi-monthly subscription service that curates boxes personalized to your taste. They are, in their own words, a discovery platform for curious people. And I feel that description is quite accurate. They have three categories of boxes: books, film, and beauty. With the book boxes, they showcase great literature from around the world, including both forgotten classics and contemporary fiction. Through their book box, Boxwalla wants people to read the world. I can definitely get on board with that. Each book box features 2 books housed in a box. Subscribers can choose one book, and Boxwalla chooses the other. For the April book box, we have these nice additions. We have, The Loser by Thomas Bernhard, of course. The Loser. As well as Lucky Breaks by the Ukrainian author Yevgenia Belorusets, Good Behavior by Molly Keane, and Scattered All Over the Earth by Yoko Tawada. Now this one comes in all the boxes, but for the other book you can choose from these. And there's definitely no wrong answer, they all look good. For the film box, they work exclusively with the Criterion channel, curating from their collection. Only the best, right? And in the beauty boxes, they showcase plant-based skincare made by ethical independent brands. Any of these would also make a great gift. And their actual boxes are awesome. They're like fuzzy. They kind of feel like fur. They're very nice quality, very nice paper. The outer box is actually made by a family-owned business in Rajasthan, India, from handmade tree-free paper, using a traditional paper-making technique that takes several weeks. It's pretty awesome. You're gonna wanna keep the box after you receive your stuff. You can get 10% off your first box today by using the code BETTERTHANFOOD, and you can check them out using the link below in the description box. Thanks a bunch. It seems easy to see what colored the Austrian author Thomas Bernhard's world perspective. His father abandoned his unmarried mother in the time of Nazi Germany, eventually killing himself in Berlin, I believe, and never acknowledging his son. And Bernhard's mother never really loved him, it seems. And when he was young, Bernhard was forced to join a branch of the Hitler Youth. He had a lot of garbage tossed on him right at the beginning. It's incredible how he took it all on. He became a very successful author and playwright, although a notorious one. His vitriol, for some I imagine is off-putting, but for me, it possesses a crystal clear gravitational pull, because after a couple sentences you realize you are reading a caustic, courageous genius. Put another way, you quickly realize you're reading the words of a brilliant man who does not give a flying fuck. Or, like in this book, he gives so many fucks that he's finally spilled over the edge, and his mind is taking a nosedive while trying to orient itself, while raining a hail of bullets not only on all the guests of this party he's at, but on himself as well. Nothing escapes the fire of his scrutiny. So this short novel is about an artistic dinner party that the main character, who we assume is Thomas Bernhard, is invited to. There are two major events surrounding this dinner party. One is the much anticipated attendance of a well-known local actor at the theater who is starring in a production of Ibsen's The Wild Duck. And the other event is the very recent suicide of a friend of the party's hosts and guests, including the narrator, named Joanna. So the night of the dinner party happens to fall on the same day where many of the guests attended her funeral that morning. Since the party was planned in advance, it's kind of modified to serve these dual functions. That is, hosting the famous actor and as a kind of memorial gathering for Joanna. So all of this centers around this party, this artistic party, this bourgeoisie party in Vienna, given by the Auersburgers, these people who are kind of like pretentious wannabe aristocrats who are interested in the arts, but they're just brimming with mediocrity. They prefer to just like surround themselves with people who are also mediocre, but they all think it means something. You know the type. People like me. So most of the book takes place at this dinner. Imagine this guy, ruminating in this wingback chair, drinking champagne, this guy in his 50s, and what you have are these underground man Dostoevskian silent rants full of jibes at all the people attending and throwing this party. And Bernhard begins to work in concentric circles of thought, going increasingly further as the mind does, and we're sort of given the outlines of his world as he does so, as he's thinking, as he's criticizing all the people at this party. Brilliantly so. It's very, very engaging writing, and really flows, elucidating and inevitably revealing a larger portrait of himself and his past and his relationships to all the people in attendance. His relationship with these characters. For example, we discover why he hates Jeannie Bilroth, who is this other famous author who is attending the party. Turns out he had an affair with her and left her long ago. And she never forgave him, and she's hated him ever since, and he's hated her ever since. We see why he loathes the husband of the couple who are putting on the dinner, Auersburger, because he's a drunk who, again, decades ago, Bernhard thought was a musical genius, somebody really truly capable of great artistic achievement, but let himself become a pathetic alcoholic. To a degree that is pretty comical. And we come to discover why he was so unsurprised about Joanna, who is the mutual friend of everyone who hanged herself. In the past, she was a very good friend of his. It's very darkly humorous, observant, kind of amazing in its simultaneous self-deprecation and laceration of the Viennese bourgeoisie and pseudo-artistic society, which, sure, it's very specific, to Vienna, but could just as easily be applied, I feel, probably to like New York or Paris or London or wherever. To get ourselves out of a tight spot, it seems to me, we are ourselves just as mendacious as those we are always accusing of mendacity, those whom we despise and drag in the dirt for their mendacity. We are not one jot better than the people we constantly find objectionable and insufferable, those repellent people with whom we want to have as few dealings as possible, though, if we are honest, we do have dealings with them and are no different from them. We reproach them with all kinds of objectionable and insufferable behavior and are no less insufferable and objectionable ourselves. Perhaps we are even more insufferable and objectionable, it occurs to me. As far as his style, Bernhard reminds me a lot, actually, aside from Dostoevsky, he reminds me a lot of the Brazilian author Radwan Nassar and the French author Michel Houellebecq. All of these men possess a kind of wonderful Hemingwayan cynicism, something stubborn and smart, kind of tragically aware, finally, of their ineptitude just like the others, but fervently determined never to stoop to bullshit. The number one requirement to be able to write like this convincingly and pull it off and to have people enjoy it, for all of you budding cynical writers out there, is to, first off, it doesn't have to be literally first off, but somewhere in the book, and honestly and truthfully, you have to you have to destroy yourself if you're going to criticize others. You have to, that's the price to make it real. Because then people believe you, right? Then we can see that you have you've turned on the lights and revealed everything, including yourself. Like, you're not afraid, right? You're not afraid of pointing the gun at yourself as well as others. You're really fucking crazy. Figuratively speaking, of course. But yeah, you're not afraid to point the gun at yourself as well as others. All of these authors are very self-deprecating. In their cynical expressions, they destroy themselves, primarily, above all, as they destroy other people. They are their own biggest critics, so to speak, as we all are. And just as scathingly merciless to themselves, if not more, because, that's the truth about all of us, because we know ourselves more, right? We have more knowledge of, intimate knowledge of ourselves, and thus we can really let ourselves have it, so to speak. But it's funny when he lets other people have it too. Naturally, that's the only way this type of literature works, as far as I can see. That is, with a flagrant, scorching honesty that requires an insightful and mature self-deprecation, and an authentic one. An authentic one. Not just pandering to the crowd in order to fling shit. Not just like, not just like kicking yourself in the ass a few times and then just like, nuking the rest of the characters. But you have to be unafraid of destroying yourself above all. And that's a very difficult thing because, obviously it's a very difficult thing. And it speaks volumes, right? And I'll tell you why. It's because the person who is not afraid of that is not ruled by societal norms. They truly do not care, like everyone else, what you think about them. And that's a very dangerous person. Could also be a very brilliant person. And that frightens people very much because they're terrified about what other people think about them. But we love the person who demonstrates that they don't care. Because they're free, and because we wish that we could be free too. Harold Bloom said this was his masterpiece, and it's a quick read, and you're getting a lot of bang for your buck here. It's really quite good, so. Better than food. I loved it. Hats off. So who should read it? Well, yeah, anybody who is a fan of Dostoevsky, Hadwan Nassar, Michel Houellebecq, Knut Hamsun, maybe Louis Ferdinand Céline, and probably Schopenhauer, though I haven't yet had the pleasure. I want to review him soon. So what did I dislike about it? Nothing. I thought it was a great length, great writing. The merry-go-round repetition might wear on the reader after a while, but I think it has merit in its mirroring of the actual mental processes, and it didn't irritate me by the end. I thought it flowed. I thought it was natural in its mirroring of the mind, the way the mind thinks. Will I reread it? Absolutely, if time permits, if I live long enough. But I've got a lot of other stuff to read. Coffee time. For those of you who are new, I take all the names of the patrons on Patreon who have donated $5 or more per video to the show. I place their names in this jar. I pull out a name for every review, and whoever's name I pull out is sent a hard copy of the book I'm reviewing, plus a bag of coffee, roasted by yours truly. And the coffee is delicious. Trust me, it's really good. This one's from Myanmar. If you would like to get in on that and help support the show, thank you very much. I sincerely appreciate it. You can click on the link below and check out the tier information, or go to patreon.com/booksarebetterthanfood and donate $5 or more per video, and I sincerely appreciate it. Thank you. It really helps and it keeps this whole thing going. If you donate $1 or more per video, you can get access to the Patron-Only Reviews, the Discord channel, and the Better Than Friday newsletter that I send out every Friday, which is just a list of 5 different things that I'm interested in at any given time. Could be books in the pipeline, music, films, changes every week. If you think we have similar taste, if you need new music or movies or interesting stuff, I think you'll enjoy it. Same with the Discord. There's a lot of cool people talking about stuff all the time in there. And, with the newsletter, there's like 100 and something of them now. I've been doing it for quite some time. So there's, the back catalog is substantial. So you have a lot of stuff that that I've found interesting over the course of a couple of years now, I think. So anyways, unfortunately, international shipping is not included. Sorry about that. Thank you very much to all the patrons, and best of luck. Okay, here we go. Jeff J. Thanks a bunch, Jeff. Really appreciate it. You're going to receive Thomas Bernhard's Woodcutters, plus a bag of coffee, roasted by yours truly. And I hope you love both. Thank you so much. Please subscribe if you have not already, and hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed this, and always remember, bring a book wherever you go. All right, that's all I've got for you today. Take care of yourselves. Hope you're doing well. Talk to you soon. Have a good night. Ciao.